Back here on the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan, Corey Majors alongside Kevin Hagelin. We're hanging out today, and we are now joined by Travis Frederick, brought to you by Dr. Pepper and Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Travis, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing really well, and I think I want to talk a little bit about your hospital visits in just a minute because obviously I have a strong connection to that too, and I know you do as well. But I think the first thing we have to kind of dive in on is when a teammate gets cut or they move on, and today the breaking news is that Brett Maher has been released and Kai Forbath will now be the kicker for the team. How do the guys take that when something like that goes down?
It's really difficult when those things happen, especially this late in the year, and with guys that have been around. You forge relationships with those guys, and it's easy to sit back and watch on TV and say, "Oh man, that guy's terrible," or call for his life or his job. And but you have to realize that these people are real men with real families and a lot of stuff going on. So from our side, it is tough watching that happen, and I certainly wish him the best moving forward.
Do you reach out to somebody after something like that? Like, have you ever had a teammate that you've been really close with that had to move on, and you reach out and say, "Hey," kind of give them the best advice for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if you're close with them and you've spent some time with them, you reach out and wish them the best and try and help them get through this time. It's a tough time for them and for their family. So certainly, when you get a chance to reach out to them, it's a good thing.
Does that, now on the other side, does that send a significant message to the players, and are y'all affected by that from the other perspective of, I mean, look, we already knew we had to play better.
Well, we understand that this is, and there are things that happen on a day-to-day basis like that. It's unfortunate that it has to be that way, but you see it during training camp. We talk about it being a business when guys, maybe are holding out for a contract or this or that. We talk about it in the off season when you're signing new people and making decisions on others. So it's just that kind of continual reminder that this really is a business and nobody's ever really safe.
If you don't mind kind of peeling this curtain back just a little bit for us, whenever something like that happens, is it whispers around the locker room, or do they draw everybody in for a meeting and have a discussion about it?
You're saying if someone gets released?
Yeah.
Yeah. They usually will just bring that person in and have a short meeting with them and make that transaction at that point. So it's not like something that they leak out to the team or there's whispers about. And we also don't. It's not a unusual occurrence, so it's not like we're gonna have a team meeting about it either.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now, you have, I'm kind of curious about this, especially given, I know what you guys were doing this morning, and then last night we did Jared Sandler's event, and there was auction to go eat dinner with you that brought in a ton of money for Special Olympics. I know sometimes some of these things are obligations that certain people have to do, but then you include your, the Blackout Hunger Foundation and everything like that. What does it mean to you, or can you tell us more about why you decided, hey, I'm going to do these things with my time and my celebrity, when a lot of people might be like, no, I can go party or do whatever else?
I think that it's really important for everyone in the world, but especially us that have a platform to make a difference. We come in here and we're so fortunate to play for the Dallas Cowboys and one of the most popular sports franchises in the world. And so we have eyes on us at all times, and there's a lot of things that you could be in the news for, but when you choose to make those things positive and to be helping people, I think that's really where you gain success. And I'm not even talking about personal success. I think just in general, I think it's important for people to help other people and be genuine and care. And so for me, these are just opportunities for me to take advantage of the platform that I have and those eyes and potentially the generosity of others and try and help some people that are in need. So anytime I get an opportunity to do that, obviously with my Blacking Out Hunger Foundation, or whether it's even going to these hospital visits and brightening up the day of some kids that aren't necessarily doing well, or volunteering my time for Jared's event, whatever it is, I really try to do things that are going to make a difference.
Travis, I know, but my daughter, she's been at Cook's. She's been up in Cleveland, and she's been doing the IVIG infusions. and hers is for something completely different. But I know whenever we're sitting in the room and she's got to spend 6-8 hours plugged into the IV, there are people around that are experiencing something far different, far more effective on what their lives are. And I do wonder, like, when you went through that, did it kind of change your perspective on what people have to do when they're sitting in that room connected to that kind of thing, and what they have to deal with life too?
Yeah, I think those things in your life always bring perspective. In today's world, we're so disconnected from everything, and when you get put in a situation like that, or see someone or know someone that's in a situation like that, I think it really brings you back down to level one, and the things that are most important to you, your family and those around you that you care about, and your life, and those things that are just essential to our lives. And when you are sitting there, I've been in that chair for 6 and 8 hours, and then there's a lot of time to sit and think and evaluate what's going on. And I think the best thing, for me, that experience is it let me in on that, and let me see how hard it is and how difficult it is for some people, and how fortunate that we are to be doing what we do. I play a game that I love for a living, and I'm really fortunate to be able to do that.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I think, Kevin, whenever they make these hospital visits like they were today, it's just amazing to see how much it changes your life whenever somebody walks into the room when you're going through something like that. When Lucy's going through it, man, somebody walks through, they have a dog with them or whatever, and it just lights her up. So you guys, that's why I really do applaud y'all for what y'all are doing whenever y'all go make these hospital rounds, because it's awesome, man.
Yeah, and it's great for us too. It's great for the kids, but it's great for us because it does just that. It allows us to interact with those kids and brighten their day, but to see those kids smiling through all the things that they're going through really makes the things that we're going through seem pretty insignificant.
Now, I want to get back to some of those in particular things for the Cowboys, but before that, we've talked a lot about how you deal with when the Cowboys lose and how you have to, quickly move on or focus on this or focus on that. How does that translate for your other sports viewing? For example, this weekend, Wisconsin with Ohio State, it looked like, obviously at halftime, it looked like, we're going to take it down and everything like that. How do you deal with that just watching as a fan when you don't have to focus immediately on the business of Wisconsin football?
It's translated a little bit for me, after a loss like that. It's unfortunate, and I thought the guys played really well, and it just kind of slipped through their fingers there at the end. But as soon as you get done with that, you kind of wallow in it for the night, and the next day is Selection Sunday, and you find out you get to go to the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah.
That's something that really brightens you up. It's not very often that you can get in there with 3 losses, and I think that's a testament to how talented they really are and how well they played in the championship game there.
Now, you have been in the Rose Bowl, and I'm sure we can talk about it more as it gets even closer, but I'm just curious, for those guys or for people who are listening right now, what is it like to step out on that field and be in that game?
It's really special. I think that's the best way to put it. The people there on the Rose Bowl committee really take care of you while you're out there for the week, preparing and enjoying the city, and then to be a part of that game, just knowing how historical it is, and being able to cement your name in that history, in your team's name, your school's name. It's a really cool feeling, and I was fortunate enough to get to see it 3 times, and each one was another breathtaking moment when you step out there.
Is a Badger a tough mascot, or is that, when you look back, you're like, man, that's the best mascot you could possibly find?
It's a pretty tough mascot. If you consider, what the Badger really is, and how ferocious of a rodent that it is. It really could take down animals many times its size, and it's very, very lethal. And then when you combine it with the state reference, the historical reference to the miners that they used to call that they used to call badgers, kind of peeking up, I think it really fits in well.
See, Kevin? You've been talking bad about Badgers this whole time.
I
told
would
you.
never.
Ridiculous.
See?
It's far more lethal than a poisonous nut that falls off a tree that somebody just has to not pick up and eat.
Yeah, well, Though those nuts, it can be tough if you picked it up and ate it. It wouldn't be great.
Yeah,
so.
you'd be nauseous and all sorts of poison.
Oh man, that would be terrible.
Do you bond with previously hated rivals from teams that you didn't like? Like, do you Big Ten people seek each other out and you're like, look, we need to have a conversation. You used to hate my team, I used to hate your team, but let's bring it all together because now we're on the same team.
Yes, I think so. It's not really. There's not as nearly as much hate between teams and players as you may anticipate or that you may think. It's
disappointing.
We respect what each other are doing in the sacrifice and the grind that anyone's been to, and especially like when you're in the same conference or you've played against each other a lot, you understand that maybe even more so. The type of grind and the type of struggle that you had throughout college. So I think that coming together and discussing those things is really the bonding moment.
Same thing with coaches from that conference. No hate for coaches from that conference or anything.
I don't think I have hate for any coaches.
No hate in Travis's heart, Devin.
Yeah, I mean it's all love. We're just trying to make this world a better place.
Till you step on that football field,
yes,
and then
exactly.
It's time. All right, so let's talk a little bit about that. The best way to defeat Los Angeles, is it via the pass, or do you have to just ram it and run it down their throat?
I think with any good offense, you have to be able to do both. You have to exhibit some balance, but then you also have to play the game where you take what they give you. So, the more we dive into this and study, it's still pretty early on in the week. We'll hopefully be able to find a game plan that fits well into what their defense is doing and be able to be successful.
Now, Aaron Donald is a tremendous player right there in the middle. How different is, I don't know, and maybe you can kind of give us a scouting report on his skill set, but how different is he to face than some of the other guys in the league?
I think that he's on a completely different level. Wow. I think that he's really, really talented, super athletic. He's got these, innate qualities that you just don't find in other people. And I think the best, comparison that I can give you from our team is Zach. Like when Zach gets himself out of balance, I've never seen anybody just be able to pull themselves back to right. And it's not something that's learned. It's just something that he can do that not many other people can. So I think that Aaron exhibits a lot of those traits and is just naturally a really, really, really talented player.
And that's crazy because they were drafted so close to each other too. Just the fact that you could have ended up with either one of those guys.
Good job, all the other teams in the NFL before that.
Do you ever talk trash to anybody across the line? Like here's a suggestion. I'm just throwing it out there. When you line up and you see Aaron, you could just say, "Hey, you have 2 first names," and just see how he goes. With
that's
that.
good. That's kind of the pot calling the kettle black there.
Oh yeah, Travis and Frederick.
Yeah, I think that wouldn't go over very well. I don't do a lot of trash talk myself, but that would be the type of trash talk I would do if I had that.
But at least it's Travis Frederick and not Travis Fred, because then I'd be really concerned.
That might be effective. If anytime you can try and throw somebody off, that definitely would throw him off. He wouldn't be expecting that type of trash talk.
When you go
we'll come up with a bunch of stuff and DM it to you. We're really good at that.
That would be great. Thank you.
That's really the primary reason he came on. So I am curious, every single time you go through, film study or anything like that, do you see something in every game that you're like, I could do that better? Like, no matter how well the team played, how well you played, do you always spot something you're like, that play, that series, that whatever, I can do that better?
100%. Whenever you play the game, you're always going to mess up. Like I don't know that anybody's ever had a perfect game. When you play a game, let's say we played 70 plays, the chances of being perfect throughout those 70 plays in every single category, technique and your finish, the assignment, like all of those things, it's just very, very difficult to be perfect. And we try to strive to get as close to that as we can, but there are always areas that we can improve.
And still, I have a feeling that the answer is yes. We talked with Steven earlier today, and he talked about the most important thing is that everybody in that building has confidence and beliefs. Do you maintain the same level of confidence that you feel like you need going into the Rams game and, quite frankly, for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, we still have the same guys in the room, and I've been confident in that group of guys the entire way. And, for us, you really have to look at it like all you have to do is get into the playoffs. It's not about coming into the playoffs with the best record. Anybody can win when you hit the playoffs. So that's it where we're at now. We have to win enough games to get ourselves in.
Like I said, Kevin, where are you and where are you going? That's all. That's the direction you need, man.
Well, I look forward to next week. We can start trash talking Ducks or any other mascots that you like to prepare for more Wisconsin football.
Awesome. I will prepare for that.
Sweet. Thanks a lot, Travis. We
Thanks, guys.
appreciate it.
Bye, Trav.